Joining us now is Dr. Amanda Salter of the Shanbom Eye Specialists in Berkley, with us on the MegaCast as we approach Halloween holiday. It's a big holiday, of course, for kids, but also for adults as well who are celebrating the occasions. But there are a lot of hazards also involved with the celebration of this holiday, and she's joining us now to talk about how those hazards specifically can affect our eyes. Dr. Salter, thanks for being with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. So there are a lot of common hazards on Halloween that can affect our eyes. What are some of those common hazards that often can be problematic for people on Halloween that maybe some aren't aware of?
Yes, so I think one of the things that we worry about the most is counterfeit costume contact lenses. So, when you're at the costume store or the party store, they may have costume contact lenses available there, but you need to avoid those, basically. Those are not FDA approved. We don't know if they're sterile. They're certainly not fitted to your eye. And all of this can present the problem of eye infections. And some of these infections can be vision threatening. And so we really want to avoid that. So that's, I would say, the most common thing that we worry about. And so if you want to wear colored or costume contact lenses, the best thing to do is see your eye doctor and get a prescription contact lens, whether it be a regular contact lens or a colored or a costume lens. That way it's fitted to your eye and you learn how to properly care for it and keep it clean. And usually for the costume contact lenses, you want to limit the wear to about 4 or 5 hours because they're not quite as breathable. And so this way you avoid overuse, which can also be harmful to your eye. So that's one thing. And another thing, which I was just talking about with another mom, is the accessories that some kids may have, whether it be a plastic knife or some weapon of some kind. She was mentioning her kids had a plastic axe and a plastic dagger. And so many of these are actually sharp, even though they're plastic, and that can be a harmful issue if you were to fall on your travels while you're trick-or-treating. So try to keep the accessories soft and flexible to avoid this. And then also some of the masks, they don't allow for good vision because of smaller eye holes. So don't be afraid to enlarge those so that you can see better and be safer while you're walking around.
Dr. Salter, there are a number of other accessories also that go along with these costumes. People are not just wearing different outfits and wearing different accessories, hats, eyewear, mouthwear, masks, whatever the case might be. They're also putting on makeup and using other accessories as well, like false eyelashes and so on. How can those also become hazardous to our eyes if we're not extremely careful in the way that we're applying them and that we're maintaining them throughout our activities on Halloween?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because that's a big Halloween question, and also that may just be a general question as far as eye care. So with regard to eyelash extensions, this is something that I would tell people in general, but specifically we're talking about Halloween costumes. If you're going to do extensions or if you're going to do like a magnetic false eyelash, you want to do that as limited as possible and also with a professional. So for eyelash extensions, I would say it can be done safely if you do your homework. Make sure that you find an esthetician who's qualified to do so and has a sterile and clean environment. And you want to keep in mind, looking at the glue that they use, that there aren't any harmful chemicals. Some people will use a glue that has formaldehyde. That is not good. And, there also may be a concern for allergic reaction to the glue. So not a bad idea to do a test spot, like on the back of your wrist, to make sure that you aren't going to have a reaction. And keep in mind that, again, you want to find somewhere with a good reputation because they are using sharp objects close to your eye. And this could lead to eye injury. Also, people can have, as I mentioned, the allergic reaction to the glue, or you can have damage to your lashes with tugging or pulling during application, which could lead to loss of your eyelashes, or damage to the follicle, which sometimes, rarely, but that can lead to permanent loss of the lashes there. And if you don't clean your lash extensions properly on a regular basis, then you can get infections and styes and that kind of thing. So I think, limiting it and also making sure that you find someone who is approved and clean and making sure that you're keeping them clean. There are various eye cleansing products over the counter to help with this. So that's something that would be useful on a regular basis.
We're joined by Dr. Please continue on.
Go ahead. I was just going to talk a little bit more about makeup, but if you had something else, that's okay.
No.
Okay, so I was just going to mention that, one of the things that we see a lot on Halloween and also maybe on a regular basis is more glittery eye makeup or just more eye makeup in general. So a couple of quick tips about that. So for glitter eye makeup, especially if you're a contact lens wearer, and we were just talking about that, you want to be careful with glitter because that can easily get into your eye and that can be really irritating to the eye. And if it's big enough glitter pieces, it can actually scratch your eye. So you want to be careful with that. And make sure you're not drawing on the waterline that clogs the tear glands. And removing your makeup every night is a good way to prevent irritation or infection.
We're joined by Dr. Amanda Salter of the Shanbom Eye Specialists in Berkeley, joining us to talk about Halloween eye safety. And Dr. Salter, earlier you mentioned some of the false eye contacts that you can pick up at party stores for some of these costumes that are not FDA approved and can be hazardous to your eyes. Are there options for people out there that do wear contacts or even don't wear contacts but want to have special eyewear such as eye contacts with different colors and so on that they can safely apply on Halloween? Are there those that are available out there, and where should people be looking for some of those if they are available?
Yes. Okay. Great question. So the best way to do that is to see your eye doctor, and they will properly fit you for contact lenses, and you'll get a prescription, and that can be done for both colored and costume contact lenses. And you want to make sure that you do that with your eye doctor because then they're fitted properly to your eye. They won't move around too much and cause a scratch or irritation. And also your eye doctor will teach you how to keep them clean, how long to wear them. We always advise never sleep in your contact lenses. And you don't want to wear expired lenses, and you'll be advised as to, the length of time to wear them and so on.
We're joined by Dr. Amanda Salter of Shanbom Eye Specialists in Berkeley, joining us to talk about Halloween safety, particularly as it pertains to your eyes, which can have major impacts on, which can be majorly impacted negatively from various Halloween costumes and actions that are taken to dress up for Halloween or to have some fun on Halloween for yourself and for your kids. And so you mentioned some of the hazards that certain objects or certain costume materials can have for people's eyes. Generally speaking, when those hazards are met by people's eyes on Halloween, what are some of the common effects that that you see or that other eye specialists do see from patients as a result of their actions on Halloween, and what does the treatment of those look like after the fact?
Okay, so as far as the contact lenses go, or the eye makeup, I mentioned that you can get scratches on the surface of the eye. That's the cornea. And that's something that, we want to make sure does not get infected, particularly with the contact lens wearers. You can get a corneal infection with a contact lens, and that can lead to loss of vision if not cared for properly. So I would say if you have any kind of eye injury, whether it be from the contact lenses or the makeup, or if you have an injury from one of the plastic costume accessories, then don't try to treat it yourself. You want to see your eye doctor to make sure that it's not something more serious that would require some form of treatment.
We're joined by Dr. Amanda Salter. She joins us from the Shanbom Eye Specialists in Berkeley, with us today on the MegaCast and to talk about safety for Halloween and all the different hazards that can go into Halloween costumes. So you mentioned some of the tactics that people can take in order to protect their eyes going into Halloween. What should they be looking for in a costume that may include eyewear or may include masks in order to make sure that they are choosing either the safest options or taking some of those additional precautions that you suggested in modifying their costumes to protect their eyes? So,
as far as the costume contact lenses, prescription only, see your eye doctor. And then, if you're using any kind of accessory, I would say limit it. Because it's already dark outside, and if you're wearing a mask, then you're adding to the difficulty of seeing well. So if you do have an accessory, make sure it's soft, no sharp edges. Flexibility is good too. And then as far as the mask, as I mentioned, if you make sure that the eye holes are big enough so you can see well, so you're not more prone to falling. And as far as eye makeup, try to stay away from glitter, or just be very careful that you're not getting that in your eye. If you're using eyeliner, do that outside of your lash line. Never share eye makeup. And make sure that as far as discarding eye makeup, you should do that every 3 months or so, because bacteria does build up on your makeup. So that's important to remember.
And so, doctor, if someone takes some of these precautions, or even if they don't, and they end up with maybe some of that makeup glitter in their eye or something else in their eye, or they have an incident that involves their eyes on Halloween, what are the first steps that they should take? Obviously getting some medical care, but in getting the correct medical care quickly, what should be the steps that they take in those situations, either themselves or by seeking professional help, in order to help protect their eyes to the best extent possible?
So I think if you feel that you've gotten a piece of glitter or anything in your eye, it's always a good idea to flush your eye out, and you can do that either with water from the sink, or they do make an eye wash that you can get over the counter at the drugstore. But you don't want to go digging around in your eye looking for that. Try to flush it out if you can, and then you want to see your eye doctor as soon as you can. And if you feel like you're having an issue with a costume contact lens, you want to take it out, that's for sure. Usually your eye will tell you if it doesn't want the contact lens in there. And if you're having pain, then you want to take that out immediately. And again, don't try to treat any kind of eye injury on your own completely. It's always a good idea to see your eye doctor and make sure that you don't require any medication or other treatment.
We're joined by Dr. Amanda Salter. She joins us from the Shanbom Eye Specialists in Berkley with us today on the MegaCast. And so we've talked a lot about accessories, and we've talked a lot about costume-related issues and how those can affect your eyes on Halloween. Other activities also that create a greater risk factor for eye issues as a result of Halloween celebrations.
I think we've covered it extensively. I think, as far as the makeup issues with the lash extensions and makeup, that's something that I think is important for Halloween, definitely, because we're seeing much more of that. But in general, I think that those are questions that many people have as far as just good eye care, and is it safe to do eyelash extensions or false lashes. So the biggest thing as far as lash extensions and false lashes, besides making sure that you're doing it with a reputable person and that it's clean, is making sure you are regularly cleaning your eyelids, especially if you have the lash extensions. And I would say, ask your eye doctor for a recommendation of the over-the-counter eyelid cleansers. And that's something that's important as for good eyelid hygiene in general too. But definitely when you have the false lashes, that can be a good prevention.
We're joined by Dr. Amanda Salter from the Shanbom Eye Specialists in Berkley with us on the MegaCast, talking about Halloween eye safety, things you should be keeping a lookout for and be aware of as you head into the Halloween celebration here in the next week or so. You can learn more, of course, if you are just tuning in and want to hear that advice. Go to our website later on today, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where we'll have this interview there for you on demand. And so, Dr. Salter, with the change of seasons, of course, we're into the thick of things in the fall right now, but people are still getting their homes ready for the winter, or getting their maybe they're leaving town, they're snowbirds, or they're just getting their yard, doing yard care, doing home maintenance, cleaning things out. What are some common hazards in the home outside of course, the Halloween hazards that people should be on the lookout for this fall, or things that people should be doing during the change of seasons to help protect their eyes as we go from the sunnier times of the year to the colder and the cloudier times of the year?
I'm glad you asked that. So one of the main things that I would say can sometimes be worse in the winter is dry eye. And so many people are affected by dry eye. And as we head into the winter, the heat in your house is drying and the cold air outside can be drying. And so that is a time where many people will have flare up in their dry eye. And one of the things you can do is just adding a humidifier to your bedroom, because nighttime is the time when some people, their eyes may not close completely and they may wake up feeling extremely dry or like your eyelids are stuck together. And a humidifier can be very helpful for that. Also using more of the over-the-counter artificial teardrops. And as far as, mentioning doing maybe more yard work and that kind of thing, always a good idea to wear eye protection, especially with yard work. And, when you're doing things where, like, let's say you're mowing the lawn or you're weed whacking or something, if material can fly into your eye, then it's always a good idea to wear eye protection.
We're joined by Dr. Amanda Salter from the Shanbom Eye Specialist in Berkley on the MegaCast. Dr. Salter, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Any lasting advice for people heading into the Halloween season, going into the fall and the winter, or any other important information people should be keeping mindful of at this moment in time?
Yes. So to kind of sum it up, if you're having an eye problem, always best to visit your eye doctor and not try to treat it by yourself. When you're looking for Halloween accessories or makeup, if you're looking for costume contact lenses, avoid anything that you can get at the party store, the drugstore, or online. You want prescription only for best safety. As far as eye makeup or extensions, again, make sure you're being clean, taking proper care. Never share any of these things, especially contact lenses. And eye protection during any kind of outdoor yard work so that you can protect your eyes. And, we're getting back into the school months, so making sure that if you feel like your kids are having an issue, they should get their eyes checked. And the last thing I'll mention that I think all of us are doing a lot of is screen time. And that's something that, again, can add to dry eye. Important to take breaks while you're on your computer. So there's something called the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, take 20 seconds and look 20 feet into the distance. So give yourself a break. I know we're all on screen time a lot more. So that is something that's just generally helpful.
Well, Doctor, we appreciate your time. Thanks for all this information that I'm sure will help a lot of people be more aware of their eye health going into the Halloween season and as we head into the winter also.
Thank you so much for having me.